guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're teaching poodles how to fly. No, just kidding. Today we are using reclaimed wood to make something for a fur baby. Pallets. Pallets come apart. Pallets have good wood, and believe it or not, pallets have bad wood. A lot of parts break when you're taking them apart, and a lot of parts are just too difficult to take it apart. So I've been asked before, why do you not take those boards apart? Why do you just stack them up and burn them? Well, they make good firewood, and I like a good fire pit. But the other thing is, to take one of those apart sometimes takes 20-30 minutes to get just one of those slats apart. One of these side slats, because of the nails they use and the wood, and then half the time you end up busting the wood. So no, I've learned what to take apart so that I can get full boards, and what not to take apart to just waste my time, so I can process 10 pallets in an hour instead of 10 pallets in 4 hours. And what you end up with is a stack of wood just like that, and this wood over here has been de-nailed. There's no nails left in it, and then of course I use my miter saw to square off all the ends. So there's always lots of pieces left over, and you never know what pieces you can use until it's time to use them. I always keep my split wood. See how that piece is broken off? But that's because half the time I need like a 1.5 inch wide piece of trim for the outside of a project, or for bones or something like that. So anyway, today we're making a German Shepard dog bed, and it's going to be a fairly simple project. So I'm going to try to keep this video shorter than 15 minutes, but I've already spoken too much. So what we have so far are pieces. See, there's one over there, there's one over there, and this particular dog bed is going to be 12 inches tall. That will be the front as you see it, and the boards are going to come in diagonally here to leave an opening for the German Shepherd to walk into, and we're going to call him Max because I don't know his name. But then these are the sides, and all I've done is taken the pallets, run them through all the saws to clean up the edges. Sanding every piece is what takes the longest. I sand every piece before I put it together, glues and nails, because that saves you a whole lot later, and you get all the details. If you tried to sand a piece after you put it together, you can't get up to the edges of it. Then it leaves different marks and unsanded, and it's just horrible stuff. So this is going to be the back. Okay, long ways. Just like that over there is the front. And then these are the sides that are sideways. Now the reason I did that is because this is pallet wood. And pallet wood is full of nail holes and cracks. And oftentimes you can't get a board that's more than 25 or 30 inches long. And in this case, for this Shepherd, this bed is going to be 44 inches, or almost 4 feet by 32 inches. And finding boards that are long enough to do something like that always have holes. Now in this case, I'm doing the back with the holes, and I may put a little piece of trim. This is the outside, and you see how I put a nice piece of trim there to cover up all the nail holes. That's because with pallets, you never know what you're going to get. You don't know whether you're going to get 44 inch boards, 48 inch boards. I just happened to take one good pallet apart, and those boards were 47 inches, which is exactly what I needed with my outside trim. So I was able to use them, and I had one left over, enough for the bottom layer of the front. So I put the sides together sideways. So let me show you basically what that's going to look like. So dog beds are pretty simple. Once you get the main 3 sides done, you're gonna connect this. That's why I build this the way I do, with my L-shaped legs, and that's how I connect everything. So once that goes together, that acts as outside trim and strengthens up the whole project. Now, of course, it's not nailed and screwed together yet, so it's still a bit wonky, but that's what it's going to look like. Now, there's going to be more trim, which you'll see here in the next minute or so of the video. So the outside is going to look more like the inside there. I don't know why I always get indigestion the minute I start frickin' filming. I won't burp all day, and the second I start frickin' filming, I gotta burp 6 times, and it makes me sound like I'm sick. Anyway. You see how there's trim across the top and the bottom? Well, that same trim, the same size, is gonna be across the top and the bottom out here, and it's gonna match right up to the side trim. And of course, we're gonna put a floor on it. And he's going to be picking up a mattress from Amazon for the German Shepard. So what I'm going to work on now is finishing up the front. Let me get that done real quick. Basically, all you do in this case is cut all your boards at 12 inches, cut your trim, nail and glue your trim in place, and you have a complete side. Same in the back. And then we're just going to trim it in. So let me get this front done and show you what that looks like. Okay, it's been several hours since my last video clip, and a buttload of stuff has happened. So hopefully I don't repeat too many things. This is the German Shepard dog bed. What you saw earlier, before I believe, were the 4 sides that were in separate pieces, and including the front. Now this bottom piece goes all the way across, and the reason for that is this upright is on the outside. I know the lighting sucks. And this upright piece of trim is on the outside, and it comes and gets screwed into every one of those upright boards, including the bottom. Then I turned around on the inside and did the exact same thing. That's why it's 3 pieces deep. I have a piece of trim on the inside and on the outside. And basically they're screwed to each other. Now you can't see any screws on the face because I screwed it all from behind. It's been glued, then nailed, then screwed from the back all the way to the front without coming through the front, without piercing it. So it has that clean look. And it sandwiches those boards together, because this is where the dog is going to be entering the bed all the time. And they'll hit that with their body if it's straight up and down. And sandwiched that way, it's very, very strong. So all I did, because if you remember, I had already made the L pieces for all 4 corners. All I did was, I don't know if you can see that or not, because I can't see that. Oh, from the side, this is the front. From the side, I drilled a hole, and ran screws into it after I put that piece together. So there's no screws that you can see visibly from the front, except for down here, but there's going to be a piece of trim there, so you're not going to see any of the screws. There's going to be trim there and there on both sides. Now in order to put the floor, so I took those 4 pieces, and the 2 sides did not have legs on them, and I stood those up, and then I brought the front piece in, and it clips right around it because it was already made in an L. And then I screwed in from the 2 sides on both sides, and I did the exact same thing on the back, so that the only screws that are visible, I don't know if I can get over there, are those 2 screws, and they're from the side. So when you're looking at this from the front, it's got a nice clean look. Now for the floor, all I did was I took a 2x4, and once again, you know I love to do this. I took a 2x4 and I ripped it down to 1.5 inches. Now that's a little less than halfway. You can't just rip it in complete half because it's 3.5 inches wide. So your pieces would be 1 and 3/4 inches by 1.5 inches, and then you mess them up because you put one this way and the other one that way. So I just run the second one through and also take off that extra. so that they're all identical, 1.5 by 1.5. Then what I did, and I always pick the shortest distance, it's 4 feet wide and it's only 32 inches deep, so I put the boards that way. I took those 2x2s, 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch that I ripped down, and I screwed them right to the entire wall from side to side. And then up here I did the same exact thing, okay, but because of this piece of trim coming in, I had to cut an angle on it and slide it in, and then I had to fill in a piece from here to here to get that level so that these boards had something to rest on. Now this is not a how-to video, this is more me just explaining the ins and outs of doing this. I will be doing another one of these in a few weeks, and I will do an actual how-to build video step by step. But today I got another doghouse. If you follow my channel, I built a looks like a 2-story mansion a couple of weeks back for a customer. I had another customer that saw my YouTube video, lives in Tampa, not too far from here, hit me up, ordered one, came down here today and paid for it in cash. I told him I can't even get started building it for 2 weeks. He's got no problem with that, so he's not even going to see it for a month, but he loves my work. And he came down here and he gave me over $1,000. And yes, they cost over $1,000. So that's what I'm building next. Since I just did a basic build along, I don't think I'm going to do a how-to video on that. I don't think I'm going to film it. But that's my next project. No, it's not. After this, I have to do raised planter beds. Then I have to do the doghouse. Then I have another butcher block top workbench. Anyway, and that's just what I have at the moment. So after I put the 2x2s in long ways across the back and across the front and screwed them in, I don't trust anything that's going to have weight on it unless it has good screws. And for interior stuff like this, I use drywall screws. They have coarse thread, they hold forever, and they last a long time. So then all I had to do was cut the boards to the proper length, and right now they're just sat in place. The last one I had to put in the table saw and rip to 3 1/8 inches because these are all pallet boards, so they're all slightly different width-wise, and whatever is left over I just cut off and made that fit perfectly. Now these have not been sanded yet. I'm going to give them a sanding, make them look good, and then it's going to get polyurethaned. So they won't be all different colors like that. They'll be more like that, more like a little light, little dark, but they'll all be clean and look new. And then all I'm going to do is put a screw in the end of each one, just like the workbench table. This will be a floating bottom, a screw in the end of each one, in case he picks it up and puts it on its side to move it or something so that the boards don't fall out. But the boards fit perfectly, front to back and side to side. Up in the front, because of the V shape, I had to cut around that to get it to extend all the way up. And remember, I put a filler piece of wood in there to keep it from going down. That's it. So I'm going to put one screw in the end of the back and one in the front. And then all that's left, I have to put trim. Trim there, trim across the bottom. Same thing on the sides. Piece of trim across the top and across the bottom. Same in the front, same on the other side. You just take some wood, put it in the table saw, rip it to the proper width. In this case, I think I made all the trim pieces, I think, are like 2 inches. I'll measure it, of course, before I rip some more. And then that's it. Now he wants this done in a gray color, a milky gray stain that they have. And it's going to get stained and polyurethaned, and you can look on Amazon. In this case, I built this. He wanted it extra large. I looked on Amazon, and the mattress that they sold for 50 bucks was a memory foam mattress, was 44 inches by 32 inches. So I just picked one. That one looked good. It's the one I've used before. And that is the exact inside dimensions of this bed. 44 inches wide by 32 inches deep. So I'm going to give him that link for that mattress. And if he buys that, it will fit perfectly in there. Put a sheet on it. and you got your bed. So I'm going to finish. I have to sand all the boards on the bottom, then I'm going to screw them all in place. And then tomorrow I'm going to finish the last of the trim pieces. I have to use my table saw and cut all those down. Cut 45s on the ends so that they fit where they need to. Get them all. I have a brad nailer and it's just trim. It's not holding anything. So the outside pieces can be done with finish nails or brad nails so you don't see them. And we're going to stain and poly it. And that is it. So the next time you see this, it will be completely done. You can put casters on the bottom of this if you like. This floor is 3/4 of an inch solid wood. So you can put casters anywhere you want. Because the floor is slightly recessed, you would just bring it in maybe 2 inches from the corner. Put a wheel, put a wheel, put a wheel, put a wheel, and we'll lift this off the ground. But that's it. This is a basic build. We're not putting casters on this one, and it's big. Everything you see here is pallet wood, guys. Every single piece. And the customer I had come here today about the other doghouse could not believe that this is all pallet wood. You can look on YouTube and you can see that they kind of throw everything together, and it's got nail holes and the edges aren't straight and all that stuff. Take a little extra time and make it look nice, and I promise you it's a piece of furniture that you'll love for years and your dog is going to love. It's 12 inches tall, if anybody is worried about that. It's 12 inches tall. So the new German Shepard hopefully will love his bed, and here's the finished product. Okay, just a quick, while I have it up on its back, you can see that's the front. This is the underneath. And as you can see, I hate using that term, this is recessed just a bit because I ripped that 2x2, 2x4 into a 2x2, and I attached it to the back wall. I had to use a filler piece because this is all pallet wood. Then up here, I used a 2x2 right up into there. And then here, to fill in this space between the two V shapes, I just used a 1x3. I made it level on the upper side where it's important. Screwed it in place, and now the floor is screwed down. As you can see, God, I keep saying that crap. The floor is now screwed down, and that's what it's screwed to. And this thing is solid. 100% solid, and it's not actually that heavy, which is nice. I went ahead and sanded the inside. He likes the multicolor, so I didn't sand it real, real sanded like the rest. I just gave it a quick go over to get the dirt off, screwed in the mix. Now I just got to blow out the dirt, finish the trim, and then get to coloring. Alright, now that all the trim is put on, you can see it better. No screws showing. All the face trim put on with finishing nails, brad nails, because it's just trim. There's no structure to it. The structure is all inside the box and in the outer corners. So you can see how all the trim went on all 4 sides. And that's it. I've sanded the bottom. I've put the screws in. Sorry if I've said that already. Now all that's left is she's going to get stained a milky gray and polyurethane and be ready to be picked up. Okay guys, this is the final product. The customer asked for this to be in gray wash instead of your standard stain and polyurethane. I'm not going to mention the name of the product I use because I'm not getting paid by them. What happens is you take it, I apply it with a paintbrush, you leave it soak in for 3 or 4 minutes, and then you wipe off the excess with a towel, just like you would if you were staining. And what you get is this gorgeous color wash that's different thicknesses and tones. Some boards soak it in more than others. You see the grain patterns throughout. It really, really, really adds character to the piece that you're building. Different shades, different tones, and you do not need to polyurethane on top of this. This is a finish all by itself. Be it a flat finish, it is a finish. Now, being on a doghouse or a dog bed, you may want to, in the very least, polyurethane the inside. I may go ahead and polyurethane this entire thing, but it's getting dark. So I wanted to get this video done before I lost my light. And that's what he wanted. Farmhouse gray, rustic dog bed for his beautiful German Shepherd, who we're calling Max. And that's it. This is all pallet wood. Like I said, don't be afraid to try to make something beautiful, not half-assed like you see a lot of the YouTube videos where they don't even bother to square off the ends or sand the wood, or, you know, there's various spaces between all the boards. Man, spend a little bit of time. This took me 3 days to build from scratch, but I'm also selling this. This is a customer, a client that commissioned this, and he knew the price before he even asked me to build it. So if you want to work with pallet wood, reclaimed wood, and you want to turn trash, and this is literally sitting on top of pallets I haven't taken apart yet, into treasure and pay your bills, or you say, you know what, I need new tools for my shop, so build a few things, make them look good, sell them, use that money to buy your tools instead of taking it out of your paycheck. Then your wife can't complain at you. But anyway, that's my doggy bed. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. See you soon.